What's up? It's Sammy, the Spanish guy Gabar, and new TNT champion. And you, yes, you, right now are listening to the
Bob Culture Podcast.
Bob Culture Podcast.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Nothing between the lines of the page or out of sight. Forgiveness, inspiration, with its angel felt out of line. Lost in no second chance or redemption can be found. 'Cause you can't run the devil and the devil is running you down.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into a very special edition of Where in the World is Rey Calitri? I just kid, the BCP. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back one of our favorite guests of all time. By now, a surefire first ballot BCP Hall of Famer, a hashtag multiple time wrestling fashion winner. Please welcome into the show. He is your current reigning and defending ECPW Light Heavyweight Champion, our good friend, Mr. Rey Calitri. What up, Rey? How are you, man?
RC Connection. I like it.
Saludos mi gente, le habla la estrella brillante Rey Calitri. Andamos en Costa Rica en vivo con mi hermano Rob de la BCP. You see, that's how you do a promo. It's that easy. Why people can't do that? Why people? I can't. I can't. Bro, that's one take. That's all it takes, man. Come on.
That's it. Notice, guys, he is not sitting in a car doing a promo, right?
No.
Beautiful poolside.
Wait. You said it. You said it, not me. You said it, not me.
Hey, that's it. Not my first rodeo, man. Sitting poolside. It's always a beautiful day when we're doing like live with Rey Calitri. The sun follows. There's usually a dark cloud that follows me where he goes. There's a sun everywhere he goes. Costa Rica, man. How is it? How's the weather over there, my man?
Dude, Costa Rica is absolutely amazing. It is beautiful. Everything that you Google, it is, and you come to see it in person, it is absolutely the same way when you Google it. Weather right now is 90 degrees, and it's not the dry heat, it's that nice, warm, cool heat. Or, you have a nice little margarita in your hand, you put your feet in the sand, and you enjoy the weather.
Oh, what are some of the food spots? What are the sites that we're checking out right now?
So the big thing out here, there's this thing called a soda, and back home, soda is the bubbly drink that you open in Coca-Cola, Pepsi. But over here, they call them sodas, and that's they're more local restaurants, you would say, and they're on their, I guess, I'm assuming cheaper end of when you buying food and stuff. But those are the best Costa Rican food that I've ever had. So.
Okay.
Yeah, this guy.
By the way, look. You see that?
Amazing.
That's not a green screen. You see people walking back there. That's not a
we
green
know.
screen.
I mean, if you want to jump in the pool real quick and then just to prove,
I can.
No.
I just jump in right now. I don't care.
Yeah. I love it. Rey always like finding the spots, taking in the culture, man. I got to ask you this one. I just saw on your story not too long ago. Looks like you guys driving through some traffic and going the other way. Was pretty much like a herd. What was it, like cattle or whatever? Some like these big guys. I don't what was going on over there, man.
Dude, like I have no the streets out here are wild. They're nothing like back in the States, obviously. And you're just like randomly just driving through the street. I was heading to we did this brunch thing on the beach where I did it for her birthday, and it all came out nice and everything. So we're headed over there, and all of a sudden you have like a cattle of like 20 cows like out of nowhere, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? And there's usually I don't know the proper term of the cattle owner or whatever, the trainer or whatever it is. I didn't see no one in the sight. So these cows are just running up and down the street randomly, and they're just stopping in traffic, and they're just like, you guys move. We're not going to move.
Yeah.
So it was, yeah.
It's their turf, man.
Yeah, they're trying to get in that pool.
That's awesome. And what was it like? Did you have like breakfast beachside or something like that? I saw like almost like a little tent set up, a little table, pillows on the ground. What's going on there, man?
So it was Soraya's birthday yesterday.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday! Like, everyone says happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, sir!
Feliz
Shout out.
cumpleaños.
That's it.
Feliz cumpleaños. Gracias.
De nada.
De nada. So it was her birthday yesterday, and we were just wrapped up with a bunch of activities that we were doing, so we couldn't really get around to like really celebrate it. So I had to set everything up for first thing in the morning. I think it was at 9 a.m. And we had coffee and a whole spread of breakfast and everything beachside, and the beach was beautiful. The view was beautiful. We were pretty much there by ourselves. No one was there. It was really, really nice. It was really, really fun.
She's having a good birthday week. That's awesome. No jumping out of planes this time. Nothing too crazy yet.
What do you mean? I almost killed this freaking poor girl, man. What are you talking about? I had her rope climbing down a 100-foot rock climb, or whatever you want to call it. Descending.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, like rappelling. Yeah, like rappelling.
Yes. Rappelling down a 100-foot rock cliff, or whatever you want to call it. And then we were jumping into, I don't know if you saw the video, I was jumping in off a 50-foot cliff off some river or somewhere. Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Just a normal Thursday.
Yeah, for Rey Calitri, ladies and gentlemen. That's it, man.
You know.
Oh, man, that's amazing. So much to talk about. Where do I want to go first? Let's talk about last time we talked to you, I believe was again, believe it or not, Egypt. This guy's talking to me in front of the pyramids, which was
4 months
amazing.
ago. Yes.
Dude, it really, and I always appreciate you making the time, man. But it was so cool to just like see you in front of the pyramid. Like I was seeing them and living vicariously, as I always do, through you. That was so cool. But we heard a little bit when we interviewed you, you talked about doing some training over there, working with some promotions, possibly in the future. And you got to train some of these up and comers, man. And it looked like a little bit of like a smaller ring. And just tell me, like, what was that like? Just kind of communicating and kind of speaking the international language of wrestling with them. How was that?
So it was crazy because when I reached out to the guy, my friend Wally out there in Cairo, Egypt, I reached out to him. I'm like, hey, listen, I'm in town. You know, I would like to do something with you guys. If you guys have, you know, possibly a show going, you know, I offer my services. If I could come down, work with you guys, whatever the case may be. You know, I've traveled all around the world, you know, etc. I sent him my resume. And he's like, yeah, sure, just come on down and everything. So once I'm down there, he tells me, oh, listen, due to COVID protocol right now, we're not running shows, but we're still training, available for training. So I'm like, all right, cool. And I told Soraya, I was like, yo, listen, do you mind if I go get a day of training in? Because I also have to be mindful of her time, because she is there with me and I drive her absolutely crazy and I drag her up and down and all over the place. And she's like my editor / photographer / camera. She's everything. Yes. But anyway, that's besides the story. So he's like, yeah, come down. So I think I went down on a Tuesday, which is one of their training days. So I'm just there in the class being like one of the boys, right? Quote unquote, being one of the boys. And then after we finish warming up, the guy's like, okay, so you lead the class. And I'm like, wow, what do you mean? I'm like, what do you mean? I lead the class. Like, he goes, yeah, this is where you came, right? Like, you instruct the class. And I'm like, okay. Wow. And I wasn't even ready for, like, I didn't have anything planned. I didn't do anything. So in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, cool. So let's assess the situation, what's going on, right? I have, you know, predominantly we work with a 16-foot ring, right? And training is an 18-foot ring, right? But this is a 10-foot ring. And I'm like, yo, this is challenging, right? So I'm like, all right, so what are some of the things that we could work on? So I asked the guys to run a few drills. I'm like, okay, cool. We could work on footwork. Okay, cool. We could work on ring cardio. Okay, cool. We could work on small spots. One of the spots that I did work on with them is called the Tennessee spot, which, if you're not aware of it, it's one of the oldest spots in wrestling history. It's when the face and the heel hits the face with an arm drag. He goes to showboat. Then he goes back. He hits the face with a hip toss, goes to showboat, hits the face with a body slam. He's showboating all over the arena, and then the face gets up, and then he hits the heel with the same 3 moves, but consecutive, back to back to back. And he gets a bigger pop from the audience, or a bigger reaction from the audience, because he's the face and he's showing fire. Like, so he's, you know, boom, 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 right? So to me, like, that's one of the oldest spots in the sport of professional wrestling. And I'm like, you know what, let me try it with these guys. And dude, it was like if I invented the freaking spot. That's what they were looking at me like. They were like, wow, oh my God, this is so good. Yeah. So I incorporated with them, and I made a little video with each one of the students, which I have, and I posted some clips. I didn't post it all, just because I don't like to bombard everything all in one shot. But that was super, super cool. And as far as like with the language barrier, my friend Wally, he spoke English. So when I was talking to them, they were able to understand. And wrestling, I said it in my video, it's one of those things that it's a universal language that it doesn't really change, because the move is the same, right? the position might be a little different. Like, Mexico, Japanese arm drag, you go with your left. You go with your right. American style, you go with the left. European style, they underhook you. So, but it's all the same motion. So once they were able to see it, they caught on like right away, so fast. And it was so crazy because, when I think about it, me growing up, I'm like just like a punk kid from Newark, and I had nothing, and I was poor, and I used to live in a basement with my two brothers. And, that's a whole different story for another podcast or whatever. But it's just for me to think of, like, I'm halfway across the world leading a class where people are looking up to me and they're grasping to every single word that I'm saying. And just the same way you guys are looking at me, imagine you having these 12 young men just looking at you and you're like, oh my God, I'm not even ready for this. But you're just going through the motions because this is what you do on a daily basis, right? So what seems so basic to us over here in America, in Egypt, they appreciate it so much more when I was over there. It was crazy.
Dude,
That's great to hear.
That's
That's amazing.
Yeah, I love that. He's
Yeah.
the ECPW champ. I know that belt goes through airport security everywhere you go, man. I saw you post the video, or you shared it with me, actually, if I can talk about it, the video with the kids. Basically,
Oh, yeah. Sure.
You guys got to see this when Ray posted, but basically he has, just like every day, just walking around with the belt or whatever. And when the kids, kind of similar to like almost what happened in Egypt, I believe it was, like the kids saw you have the belt. And it's not even like they wanted to just hold it and touch it, but it's like they kind of like roll with you afterwards, like you're walking to get your food or whatever, and they're all like swarming you and hanging around, man. Like, to do that on multiple occasions, man, not just like in Egypt or Costa Rica, man, but that's just like, you see I feel like here in the Northeast, we're so saturated in a good way, man. I'm so thankful for the opportunities. We're so used to wrestling and champions and all this circus that is wrestling, man. To see the genuine love and passion that the kids all over the world have for you, the belt and everything, man. Like, does it ever get old?
Okay, so I'll answer your question before I plug this in real quick, right?
Please.
So it's kind of crazy because me and Soraya, we were like, oh, let's go have dinner. So we're looking up stuff on the phone, and you have to be mindful because the internet here is not as fast as back home, right? So we're just looking stuff up, and the soda thing popped up. That's how we figured out the soda is the spot to go eat. So we're like, okay, we're going to go eat here or whatever. So as we're walking in, and I get this anytime I'm ever across seas, because I look different, majority of the places I go, I completely look different. And then Soraya looks super exotic. So it just like, it's just a big collision of, wow,
You're a star.
So,
you're a star.
All right. So the kid, one of the kids looks at me, he goes, are you a rapper? Like in Spanish, are you a cantante? Like, are you a rapper? He goes, do you sing reggaeton? Because reggaeton
Nice,
is one of the big things. Yeah. So he looks at me and I'm
I
like,
bet you could.
I
bet you could, though. I'll get a little drunk. I got you, man. I got you.
So I'm like, nah, man. I don't sing. I don't sing or whatever. So then we proceeded to have dinner and stuff like that. And then Soraya, she's like, yo, you gonna tell them that that you're a champion back home and stuff? And I was like, oh, absolutely, I am. I'm not gonna like not show these kids the love and all this other stuff. So this is crazy because so now I'm going to the trunk, which is the video that I show you that I sent to you, which I haven't posted to anyone else. And these kids, like when I pull out the title out of the bag, these kids are like in complete awe and amazed at this guy who just randomly stopped to eat at their mom's restaurant. And he's a champ, he's a champion back home in the States. And it was so crazy because now the same boy who asked me if I am a rapper, he's asking me to sign his water bottle, man. And I was like, awesome. What do you mean? I'm like, what do you mean you want me to sign your water bottle? I'm like, no, that's not good enough. So what I did was I took a picture with him on my phone and on the mom's phone. And then what I did was I took her information so that I can mail her some 8x10s when I get back home.
The extra mile.
Because, usually I carry that stuff with me. But this time around, because I wasn't on a show for Costa Rica, which I was trying, but the scheduling just didn't work out at all. They were having a show the same day that I was arriving. And it was like 4 hours away, and I just wasn't going to make it. So I left all my wrestling stuff back home except for my title, because I carry my title everywhere I go because, my photo shoots, my promos, et cetera, et cetera. So I told the mom, give me your address and your mail and send me the kids' names. And she wrote everything down for me. So once I get back home, priority number one is doing my laundry and all that stuff. And then number two, I gotta send all that stuff out here to Costa Rica.
That's great. That's what it's about. Good job out of you. Real champion, man. Real champion in and out of the ring. And I always ask Mr. Calitri to sign my water bottle at every show. I'm a big fan, man. That's awesome to hear. And we always say on this show, man, and I think you are the perfect representation of that. Nunes, you always say, man, it's not the championship that makes the person.
It's the person that makes the championship. I've always believed that.
Do you live by that? Because I feel like the fact that you bring it everywhere, and it's not just like, you know, you're the guy because you have the championship. Like we talked about this before, like the former champ at TCW, Monster Mac he votes for you in wrestling fashion every single week. Let's get that out of the way first.
Thank you, Steve.
He loves the way that you do business and conduct yourself. Like, is that something that you think, is that kind of your philosophy, that like, hey, not necessarily that I'm making the championship, but as a champion, this is how I should conduct myself, because you are literally carrying that company on your shoulder and free promotion all around the world, man. Like, what's your philosophy with you holding that belt? Because I love that you take it everywhere.
So real quick, to answer your question from before, no, it never gets old, especially to younger kids that they see stuff on TV, and you know, I am in a different country and they might not know about wrestling as much as over here. So when they see a person like live in front of them, they get at awe, and that never gets old, man. Because again, it goes back to me being a kid and living in the States, and you know, being born in Puerto Rico and stuff like that. But I never got the opportunity. So when I'm able to give that opportunity to other people from other countries and places that I visit, never gets old, man. And I just love making the stories. I love making the videos. I love taking the pictures. I love talking to them. And then after the video and all that stuff, and the camera goes off, and I still stay there for, you know, 5-10 extra minutes, just, hey, listen, what do you guys do here to have fun? Like, what is it living around here? How do you guys love, like, what do you guys love about this? And, you know, so I just sit there and I have conversations with different people all over the world, really. But no, back to what you're saying.
Being the champ.
Being the champ, I carry myself a certain way because this is my career. This is my job. This is what I do. This is what I work so hard for. This is what I train for. Not only to represent, you know, the company, but I also represent me as a champion, right? Because even though, like Nunes just said, that, you know, the man makes the title doesn't make the man. I completely agree with that, because even me, without having the title before, I was still going around and I was still promoting and I was still meeting people and I was still taking pictures and doing autographs. It just so happens that the people like to see the accolade because they want to see the man with the title. So then they see this random guy who looks normal, right? I'll give you another story, a quick story.
Please.
We went to a thermal spot out here, which is right next to the volcano, which is Arena Volcan. Yeah, it was super cool, man. And I'm minding my business. I'm having a good time. I'm having the drinks. I'm conversating with Soraya, with, you know, poolside, all this stuff. And I tell her, I say, yo, listen, we should do a quick photo shoot here. She's like, all right, go get the title, right? Mind you, we're minding our business, right? So we put the title down. I'm taking my pictures. She's directing me sort of like what she wants to see in the pictures and stuff. So we're doing it. And all of a sudden, this one guy goes to me, you're champion? I say, yeah. I'm like this. I'm like, yeah. So he's like, he leaves me alone, whatever. Bro, all of a sudden, you have like 20 people around me. Like, it was absolutely insane. So when I'm getting out, people are wanting to talk to me. People want to take pictures. The guy in the concierge, the guy from the taxi, the guy, oh, can we take a picture? I'm like, yeah, sure, let's take a picture. And they're like, oh my God, thank you so much. It's so humble of you. And I'm like, yeah, man, it's just a picture. It's not like I'm giving you my wallet with my credit card. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, it's just a picture. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I carry myself at a certain standard above and beyond everyone else. And I know that you said that you love when I carry my title everywhere I go. It's because not only is it promotion for the company, but it's also promotion for me. To say, hey, look, I've been here, I've been there, I've done this, I've done that. So, yeah.
Brilliant, man. This guy knows what he's doing. And you're getting all the love in Costa Rica, but I do want to talk about, conversely, I think you were in Mexico recently. Weren't getting so much love. I think there were about like thousands of fans booing you. What happened there? Tell us about Mexico, man. You got a lot of heat. Someone turned up the thermostat, bro.
Dude, that was an insane experience. Like, do you want me to give you like the whole story?
Please. Yeah, of course.
Okay. So
I'm cutting into your vacation. Please take as long as you want. Yeah, man.
No. Thank you. So quick, like long story short, right? I was out in Dominican Republic for one of my best friends' bachelor party, right? So I paid for the hotel, I paid for the flight, I had, the spending money, I had the money for the boat, everything was paid, right? So then this one guy reaches out to me 2 weeks before I'm going to the bachelor party, and he goes to me, "Oh, listen, I have a spot for you in this Mexico Lucha Libre thing or whatever with my guy from California." So I'm like, "Okay, cool. When's the date?" "Oh, it's the same date as the bachelor party." And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "Dude, can it be any other weekend?" He goes, my friend in California, the promoter, his name is Alex. He goes to me, "Hey, listen, trust me when I tell you, I haven't led you wrong. Trust me when I tell you, you have to be at this place." So I'm like, "No, there's no way." This was like, 2 weeks before. And I'm like, "Yo, there's no way, there's no way, there's no way." So sure enough, I get to Dominican Republic. I'm with my friends. I have tequila and seltzer in one hand, and I'm talking to my friends in the other, and I'm poolside just like this and everything. And the guy reaches out to me again. "Hey, listen, you have to come over here. I'm gonna put you on the card, this and that." So I just look at my friends, and I'm just like, "Dude, listen, I gotta go." And long story short, I take off the very next day. I land in Los Angeles. From Los Angeles, I go over to Tijuana, Mexico. And I'm there, and I was supposed to actually wrestle my friend from California. But of course, card subject to change, so they change everything around. So then they put me against like a freaking legend from Mexico, dude. They put me against Tornado Negro, which is Tornado Black. That dude is such a badass. If you ever have a chance, YouTube him. He is freaking crazy, and he's synonymous for unmasking a lot of wrestlers. I think he has like 14 masks or something like that.
That's a big deal. Yeah, that's a huge deal.
Okay.
Dude, that's huge. So when they put me with him, I'm like, "Oh man, like this just got real," right?
Yeah.
So they put me as a heel, they put him as a face and stuff, and they wanted me to go over, right? Because I'm the new guy coming in and stuff like that. And this is to pull the curtain back a little bit, because I know a lot of people are going to get a little upset, but I don't care what people think.
It's podcast. This is what we do. This is how sausage.
Right. Get over it. So anyway, so they want me to go over and stuff like that, and I go to the guy respectfully, the owner of the promotion, and I'm like, "Look, listen, I don't want to go over. Have him go over. He's from here. He's from Tijuana, Mexico. This guy's a rock star. This guy's a legend. And he's a face. There's no reason why I should go over." He goes, "Yeah, but nobody." I said, "Listen, by the time this is all said and done, I will have these people eating out of the palm of my hands." And he looks at me, and I'm like, "Dude, just trust me. If you give me the freedom to do what I want to do and to do what I have to do, trust me when I tell you, I'll get it." So, we're starting to have the match and stuff like that. And, at one point, I just go on the fly, and I just start doing things that I know there's working. Dude, let me tell you something. Let me backtrack a few steps before.
Yeah.
Before I go out, I'm in the big monitor. I'm in the gorilla position, right? My song hits, the guy is announcing me, all this other stuff. So at this point, if the monitor is right here in front of me, like we are right now, I was right here, a little bit to the right, and I could only see like a little piece of people right here, right? Mm-hmm. So in the video that I posted when they recorded me coming out, when I turned the corner to the left, I was legit in shock when I saw 5,000 people. I was like, "What the hell is this? Like, oh my God, this is crazy." So as I'm walking, I take like a second to myself
to compose.
And I think, right. Because again, this goes back to what I was telling you, that I'm a punk kid from Newark. I'm not supposed to be here. I wrestle in the States in front of like, 200, 250 people, the most, maybe. It's unheard of to get to 5,000 people on your own without being part of the big name companies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for you to see that and witness it, and you're there, and you're like, all right, I arrived, I'm here. So the minute I take that one step down the ramp, I'm like, all right, like, Ray, it's time to like turn this freaking thing up and get these people going. So back to the match, right? We start the match, whatever. I start going on the fly, and I catch the guy by like off guard. So I'm like, "Hey, relax. I got this, bro." I had these people throwing beer at me. Okay. I had these people throwing potato chips at me. They're throwing cups at me. They're throwing their coins, their the little pesos or whatever it is. They're throwing it at me. I had these people so hot, man. It was so good, because at the end, like right before I leave, when I wrap up and everything, one of the fans comes up to me. He's wearing a mask, and he goes, "Listen, I was sitting all the way up there and you made me want to come down here and kick your ass. I haven't felt,
which is
he
the
goes,
best compliment.
That's
Dude,
the best
dude.
when you're a heel. Yeah.
dude. And he goes, I haven't felt like that in such a long time. But me seeing you and the things that you were doing to him, because he's from here and you're from out of town and you're from Puerto Rico and you're coming out here and you're looking with all your gear and you're doing all this other stuff, whatever. I wanted to come and kick your ass. I'm like, oh, thank you. I hope you enjoyed the show.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yeah. That was
And
super.
people were
surreal.
throwing money at you. You made a couple extra bucks there in the ring. There you go.
Dude,
Well, when people were throwing stuff at you, were
absolutely.
you just like, you were turning up that heat, man?
So it was crazy because even after, so I'll give you a quick one, right? As I'm coming out, this one guy, he stands up trying to bark at me. He's already had a few beers, right? Whatever.
Oh boy.
So I look at him and I tell him in Spanish, hey, that's why your wife wants me. She's about to come home with me, right? But I told him in Spanish. Ahora mira, cabrón, por eso es que la mujer tuya me quiere a mí, cabrón, like that, right?
Yeah.
Yo, and I was hot, boy. I was hot. So after the match finishes, I go on the outside, right? And this one guy, he's like all up in my face, and I see that he has a beer cup like this. So I flick his beer cup like that, right? And I keep walking, and the entrance is facing me this way. So as I'm walking this way, I feel the beer cup just freaking smash on the side of my neck.
Yeah.
And I look over, and it was that same guy with the wife that I told him. So he got his little receipt, I guess. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, that's a win for you, man. That's amazing. Like, I'm glad it went so well, dude.
Absolutely amazing, man. Absolutely amazing.
I love the route that you're taking, man.
Thank you.
People think they
Thank
need
you.
to be here, there, or the other place, man. And we talk to people, and some people are just like, man, I just want to travel the world. Like, you're doing that, and you are wrestling all over the world. It's really amazing to see. I love the route that you're taking. You literally wrestled in front of thousands of people. You know what you're doing, man. That's amazing.
Insane.
Dude, and keep doing it. We'll see where you pop up next. But I do want to ask you this one. You sent me some pictures, man, and you were on the staircase from the Titanic movie. Where, how, when, and wearing a tux, of course, because Rey Calitri over here. But tell it, like, how did you get there? Like, was it in LA or like, where is that?
King of the world over here.
Yeah,
Huh?
seriously.
I don't want to spoil it, man, because then everyone's gonna like start going where the places where I go.
Okay.
Okay, that's fair. Okay.
You know?
All right.
No, I don't care. I don't care.
Okay.
Shameless promo plug, whatever
That's
it is
it.
that you say, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So it's actually in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and it's called the Titanic Museum. And it's something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and I just haven't had the time to do it. So they do every year for Valentine's, they do like a special dinner cruise. So what they did, was something that's pretty cool. They recreated I think is the first half of the Titanic ship. So dude, the staircase, the elevator, the rooms, like the detail, the piano, and they have like, I think it's $2 million. Don't quote me on it. You could look it up, but about $2 million worth of original artifacts of the Titanic in the museum.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Sounds
what they
awesome.
do is for Valentine's Day is they close out the museum at a certain time, and then they set everything up so that, couples could go have dinner and stuff like that. They set up the tables, and they give you like the same original menu that they had at the time of the Titanic when it was around. And you're able to order. You're able to order off of that menu, and the people are in complete character, and they speak to you. Oh yeah, sir, you're in first class. Yeah, this, that, whatever. It was a surreal experience, and it was super, super awesome.
That's how many times did you yell, "I'm the king of the world"? Let's be honest. A couple times.
After like my third glass of wine, I was like, I'm the king of the world.
That's it.
I was about to say your name is Ray, so
Yeah,
you are
yeah.
technically a king.
He says
so.
that every day when he wakes up. Let's be real. Let's be real. I gotta ask you this one, man. This is something I was thinking about what to ask you, man. You're traveling all over the world. Do you like collect, like some people do the squished pennies or the shot glasses?
Yeah, the shot glass. Yeah. Do you
Like,
collect anything?
I do drumstick. Like I always
Yeah.
get the drumsticks from the Hard Rocks. Like, as I'm a drummer, so I always
Yeah.
get the different drumsticks. Do you have like something you collect besides title belts? You have something that you collect?
So actually in the house, we have a world. I'll send you a picture when I get back home. We have a world map in the dining room. I made out of wooden pieces. This thing is freaking huge. So to every place that we go to, we buy a pin, and we put the pin to the place that we've been to. And then on the
that's cool.
yeah, it's super cool. Yeah. And it's interesting because when I have people come over to the house and they're like, what the heck is that? And then I start telling them, and then it just leads to all the crazy stories of wrestling and changing in between cars and meeting people and all this other stuff. And I also collect fridge magnets. I'm a very big fridge magnet guy. I do not like the regular square ones. I like the ones that like pop up a little bit and have a little bit of, character and depth in them. So those are two of the things that we collect that, for the travels, so to speak.
That's awesome, man. And I think I asked you this before. Have you been to Japan, or is that somewhere you want to go? I'm trying to remember.
Oh, that's on the list. No,
that's on the list. Anywhere else on the list that you're like dying to go wrestle or just go to that you haven't yet?
So right now I'm at a point in my life where I could just, and this is not to brag or anything like that, I could just literally open up the book and just go wherever the heck I want.
You earned it, man.
That's amazing. Man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. But we do have a lot of things lined up. We have, I believe I'm gonna be in Mexico again in May, I think, to wrestle for that same guy. Then at the end of May, I have Jamaica. August, I have Puerto Rico. For my birthday in November, I believe we'll be in Europe somewhere. I'm just not sure as to where.
Nice.
But as far as like good problem to have, yeah. But as far as like a certain spot that I really want to visit, I don't really have one, because if I just plan and I'm like, yo, listen, I want to go here. Okay, we'll go there either in 4 or 6 months, and we just get up and go.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, just like that Mexico thing, you're just like, what, I gotta go do it, man. You kind of go with the flow. You're living your best life, man. Mr. Calitri, I always want to be respectful of your time, especially when you're on vacation. I got like 2 more wrestling questions for you. Then we'll let you go, jump in the pool, do your thing, go climb another mountain, whatever, jump in a volcano, whatever you guys are doing today. I wanted to ask you this, man. We had Angel Orsini on from ECW. She's been doing it for a long time, and she mentioned being the heel. I thought this was an interesting concept. Not that you may or may not disagree, but you're a smart guy. You always seem to know like the money's in the chase. At the same time, when to be the champion and how to carry yourself as a champion. She said, as a heel, I thought this was very interesting, that at the end of the day, your job is always in the long run going to be to lose to the baby face or put the baby face over. And I thought that was very interesting, because we live in this climate where like the Adam Coles of the world, a lot of these heels are very, very popular too. So I thought that was an interesting take. More times than not, you're the heel when I work with you. Your kind of thoughts on that philosophy, man. Is it because like you're not always like, oh, I'm gonna go get the gold right away. Like, sometimes the money's in the chase. Like, can you tell us a little bit about your philosophy, man? Because you're a smart guy. You know how to work the crowd. Like, what are kind of like the short-term goals, like when you're working maybe a long-term feud or something like that? Like, where's your mind go?
So to me, there's two ways to look at this, right? Yeah. You have the indie wrestling heel, which is what everybody wants to be the big badass, whatever. And then you have the professional wrestling heel, which is the long-term storytelling. That's the way I see it. That's my opinion. Yeah, and that is always the best. That is always the best, because the professional long-term heel tells you the story, and they only have to work twice as less than as the heel who's over here. He's crashing and burning, and he just wants the quick payoff now. And that to me, that's the big difference when it comes to playing. It doesn't matter whether heel or face, on a professional level or on the indie level. To me, it's completely different. I like long storytelling. I like chasing. It doesn't matter to me if I'm the good guy or the bad guy, as long as you give me the opportunity so that I can take it and make it mine. If you give me the opportunity, give me creative freedom so that I'm able to, work with this person and say, hey, look, listen, let's come out with a plan that'll pan itself out over 3 months or 5 months or whatever the case is. You don't really have that much in indie wrestling, because everything is constantly changing. But you try to do the best that you possibly can. But to me, I love when people are able to be like, hey, look, listen, we want you on the show. All right, cool. Give me some bullet points that you want me to put across, and then just let me have the creative freedom to do whatever I want. Whenever I get those green lights, that's when I do like my best promos, and that's when I'm like on fire, and that's when I'll give you a promo like in all of this beauty right here. But when you're trying to be controlling and stuff like that, then that's when you get the promo in the basement, which I never do promos in the basement, but no, I digress,
Yeah, it's great. And I think you kind of answered this one already. So I'll just kind of get your opinion on this last one for me.
Yeah, sure.
We're seeing a lot of this on the indies now, like the Thanos, the Infinity Stones, the belt collecting. I always say Queen Midas, King Midas, which is really cool. You know, they were doing it with Kenny Omega on the national level, where you're collecting all the belts from all these different promotions. I think what you do is, and not to knock anyone else, I think what you do is so important. You have that ECPW championship we talked about earlier, how you carry it everywhere. You carry yourself like a champion. You're putting your, not just yourself over, but the company over. You're putting smiles on faces, which to me is the most important thing. Your kind of thoughts, because I could see you being maybe a belt collector down the, I could see it, man. But your thoughts on kind of like the people doing kind of like the belt collecting, the Infinity Stones, if you will, all over the place, man. Is that something you could see yourself doing down the line, or is it more like what you were saying earlier?
I don't want it.
Really? Okay. I like it.
Nope. I don't want it, because to me personally, I will make one title mean way more than when a guy who has 5, 6, or 7. And you want to know why, in my opinion? Because my attention is completely based on here, where I only have to put all of my focus on here. I don't have to put my focus on 7 different belts and come out with 7 different promos and come out with 7 different outfits and come out with 7 different. So to me personally, when you focus yourself on one, you could have 2 is okay. But once you start becoming 5, 6, and 7, it's like everybody, listen, first of all, everybody knows that you're not going to have 7 titles just to have 7 titles, right? Because you got to have some type of pool or whatever the case is, political, you know, and I don't want to get into that stuff, whatever. Yeah. Because that has nothing to do with me, whatever the case is, but that's real and it's there, you know, and that's something that has to be talked about. Like, okay, cool. You see a guy with 6 belts. Okay, but who does he know? What does he do? Like, that's real conversation. It's not a champion that this guy's a champion because he is a champion, because he represents himself. He represents the company. He knows how to wrestle. He knows how to work. He knows how to talk. He knows how to do promos. His gear's on point. That's a champion. Not a guy with 6 titles who's walking around in gym shorts and sneakers and you know how it is. But I don't want to get into that because that's not my avenue. I focus on my one title that I have, and that's my cup of tea, I should say, right?
Gotcha.
I love that. I'm glad I asked that one. I love your philosophy. I think you answered that perfectly, man. And actions always speak louder than words, man. And you are living through your actions, traveling the world, putting smiles on faces, getting some hate from some of the crowd here and there, doing your job, man. Mr. Calitri, always so good. Thank you for taking time out of your trip, man. I appreciate it. But before we get out of here, man, we're all about that shameless promo here on the BCP. Tell everyone where they can book you, first of all, because you're getting booked all around the world. Long story short, we had someone booked in Nepal because of wrestling fashion. So you never know who's listening. I'm not joking, man. So, hey, I'm just saying. So tell everyone where they can book you, get the merch, all that good stuff, sir.
You mean the scam contest that you put together where Vicky, we're gonna talk about it now. You're not gonna cut me off. I'm gonna cut you off. Yeah, right?
I'm used to it.
We're gonna talk about it. Yeah. You mean the scam fashion week where either Vicky or Gabby wins? And all of a sudden now, when I win, all of a sudden everybody, oh, it's a pity win. No, it's not a pity. It's because that was real. Okay,
I always vote for you, Mr. Calitri. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, you don't. And then your people. As a matter of fact, I gotta take off my glasses.
Oh no.
And then your people, right? Your people, for my birthday, I was wearing a Briani suit at the Luxor Temple on my birthday, and people went with Magic Mike or whatever, Magic, whatever, and he was wearing a freaking moo-moo. Are you kidding me? Yeah. I love you, Magic. I love you, Magic. But he was wearing a freaking moo-moo. I'm sorry, I don't curse. I never. I'm so hot right now.
It's fine, man.
Hey, man. And Soraya's looking at me crazy. She's over there in the corner, shaking her head. But it was my birthday, and I was wearing a Briani suit, and I'm in Luxor, Egypt, in front of a temple. And I lost to a guy in a moo.
Hey man, I just
know how hot I am.
I just put the pictures out there, man. And this is coming from a guy who, and you know this, Ray. You've told me I got 0 fashion sense, so I'll work on that, man. I got the hat, man. I got the Rey Calitri hat, so there you go.
Yeah, thank you for the hat.
Shameless promo.
No, hold on. I'll give you one quick story before.
Please, of course.
I'll give you one quick story before I get out of here.
Of course, please.
Right, so me and Soraya, we went to this famous river that's out here. If you want, you could Google it. It's called Rio Celeste. It is absolutely freaking amazing, right? And it was for her birthday, and I had a little photo shoot idea for her. And the place it must have been like 20 people there just hanging around, taking pictures, taking in the view, all this other stuff. And I have her set up in her gear and ready to take the pictures. And she's like, yeah, we're never going to take the pictures. I'm like, I know. She goes, why don't you take your title out? I was like, yeah, man, I don't want to do that. because I know it works. It works all the time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
she's like, yeah, go ahead, take the title. I was like, all right, cool. So I take out the title, and it was like the Red Sea parted. Everybody went just like this. Right. So I'm taking my picture with the title and stuff like that, whatever. And she goes, but stay right there. She's like, don't move, stay right there. And then I'll take your spot, you take mine, and then we take your pic, you can take my picture. So I'm just there, whatever. And then sure enough, we switched roles or whatever, and everyone was still sort of like this. So I take her picture. After we take her picture and stuff like that, people see me starting to get dressed. Of course, I start getting the questions. Oh, listen, where you're champion and this and that. What's your name? How can I find you on social media? What are you doing here? And it's just ongoing forever and ever and ever. So there you go.
I love it, man. If he goes to Disney World, he gets fast pass on the line. Just show a ton of free coffee at Starbucks. I'm telling you, man, it's good. It's good to be the king.
Now I'll cut myself off. You can find me on Instagram, PAP1Fresh. That is Poppy Fresh. Facebook, Rey Calitri. Twitter, Calitri Rey. YouTube, Rey Calitri. Bookings, questions, signings, promos, podcasts. We could come hang out. I'll have a beer with you. Well, I don't really drink like that, but I'll go have a beer with you. Go have lunch. Whatever you want. We're here. We're here for the people.
Oh, man, the best. Mr. Calitri, thank you for always making the time wherever you are in the world. Always good talking to you, man. I hope to see you in person very soon. And just continue success. Stay safe out there, my man. Thank you so much.
And enjoy the rest of your trip.
And Titan, call me because I see Rick Recon still with that title. That should be mine. So call me. Drop that little dime at the last second, right? Drop the little. Okay.
I'll get in some years. I'll get in some years this Saturday. I got
very good. Very good.
All right, guys. And like we always say
see
here,
you guys soon.
See you soon, man. On the VCP, everyone stay safe, stay positive, take care of each other. We are out. Peace. Happy birthday, Soraya.